Hi, it's Jane with Scraptastic Yarns, and today is Tuesday. But I will tell you I am filming quite a few videos for this week because it is chemo week, and that's a rough week to begin with. But I do have a couple of finished items. One of those is the Crochet Everyday Cardigan by Sorella. And I am going to tell you that even though she says it is true to size, it is not. I'll insert the video with me wearing it, putting it on. Now, it's a lovely pattern, works up great. I did get the gauge as far as stitches across, but I always have issues with them for the rows. They never come out the same. And if I get the ones across for those stitches, I'm probably never going to get the rows. So I know that I am going to either have to add rows or subtract rows. Well, I knew I was going to have to subtract rows. However, I was not paying attention when I was doing the back and the front. And I forgot about the ribbing here. So it cups just under my butt. Just under my butt. Not a problem. I don't mind having a cardigan that long. You know, just the next time I'm going to do one a little different. But even with the sleeves, when they say it is true to size, I expected that when I do the sleeve, that I do know how many rows I got as compared to how many rows she got for the length of the sleeve. With this ribbing, and even if I had gotten exact gauge on rows, this would have been 28 inches long on my arm, which would make me look more like an orangutan than a human being. So, what I wound up having to do with the sleeves was do I think it was 30 rows plus that, and it's still very long on my arms. So, I know she didn't do them true to size. She used the percentages, but that's okay. And that is my biggest beef with designers who size up by percentage instead of having people test the pattern for that size. Because when you do it by percentage, which is normally 10% each size, that means that the plus sizes are going to have arms that dangle to just above their toes. That's my rant. That was the only thing that bothered me about this. Other than that, you know, I had figured out how many I needed to do, and it worked fine, with the exception of I forgot about the ribbing because there were so many rows of the ribbing. Oh well. Next one will be different because I've written notes. Now, my second finished item, and I just realized I have to weave in some ends on this one. Nan's Next Knots. You know, there are 20 weeks to this, and I just finished up week 10 on this one and started week 11 with a new one. And I'll tell you why. Because I knew I wanted to do a lapgan, first of all, with this. And that's what I did with this one, was the lapgan. And this was the 10th row, my color was goldenrod, or gold, soft gold. So there is my lapgan. with this one. And I just finished it off with a half double crochet around the edge. The black one, I am going to continue that one to make it a full afghan so that it can go up to the gatehouse. But the other one in the light color, I'm going to do another lapghan. And the reason I chose to use the light for my lapghans, the gatehouse is somewhere that when you have a week to 10 days left of your life, you can go there if you don't want to die at home or die in a hospital. So that is what the gatehouse is. Many times there is soiling that can occur, so I choose not to use the cream for that. And the dark, that if the family wanted to take it home, bag it up, take it home, clean it, they could, or they could throw it away. Either way, I'm fine with it. You know, I know that's the way that it goes, so I'm okay with that. But that's why I chose the black trim in between the colors, is because of that reason. So that one will be a full afghan. Now, I am going to show you, you know I get the Annie's Kit Club for the crochet, and I think Dana of Dana's Wanderlust Crochet had made mention about she thought she was going to be getting the whole kit the first time, but you only get three sections at a time. They call them rows, but they're, or stripes. They call them stripes. So, I'm going to refresh you on what it looked like from the very beginning. I'm only going to show you half of it, and that was the beginning. And now we've come down to this section here. Right here was the beginning of the 12th, 13th, and 14th. 12th, 13th, and 14th. No, this was. And then this. Now I got up to this, and then they have you do a couple of rows of single crochet so you can embroider, cross stitch. Looks lovely, right? And this is where it was the last time I showed you. There's my stitch minder, progress keeper. And then you do these little sideways shells. And then this is what was it? I can't remember now. Didn't bring it up with me. But this stripe was rather interesting. It was basically the Suzette stitch. That's what it was. Now this row here, as you can see, this is a yarn over slip stitch. I'm not a real big fan of the yarn over slip stitch, but you know, it does make that interesting little ridge there. Here is the problem with the embroidered, because it's just a cross stitch. Do you see how that looks on the back? Not only that, but because I started over here, you had these little knots that you had to tie into it. So you just have tied string on one end. When you run out, you have that tied string. I really think she could have used some maybe surface crochet, but she chose not to, so that's okay. But I know that when I'm finished with this, I will take the picture with the embroidery on it, the cross stitch, and then I will take the cross stitch out because I think it's ugly on backside. So, but anyway, I'm up to row, I think I finished, this is row 18. With those little, that yarn over slip stitch. It's a nice little slip stitch. So now I'm just waiting for next month's. I will tell you that the value of this, each skein that you do receive is 3.5 ounces of the Premier anti-pilling yarn. Now on their website they sell 3 ounces for $4.49, I believe. So that comes to about 19 something with a $5 pattern if you choose to do that. And then you have shipping, which means each month it's $27.50 or maybe $27.95. So the value equals out. But this is probably one of the most expensive Afghans I've ever made. I mean, it's beautiful, but I won't be doing any more kits like that. Now, when I did my cardigan, unfortunately, I ran out of yarn. So I was forced to go to Hobby Lobby in Altoona. It's not a bad thing. I did only get the one skein of yarn, that's soft blue. Looked around, looked at some of the other yarns and thought about getting some. I was like, nope, scorched earth challenge. I'm only going to get what I need to finish my sweater. And I did indeed. However, they did have a couple of things I found yarny related. That was 99¢. And I found that llama bowl, which is downstairs. I'm using it. It had $3.49, but then it had a slash through it and another sticker put on top of it for $1.24. So, you know, I just happened to get it. I mean, come on, right? You're not going to pass up a deal like that for a llama bowl, right? And then there is a sign behind me that says, be a peacemaker. Got that for $1.50. But then I went by the fabric, and I don't know what happened. Fabric just fell into that basket, left and right, left and right. While I was there, I always go through the clearance just to see. And they had 2 of these that were wrapped up, and they say friendship, hope, love, faith. And there were 2 of those, and they were, I think, $2 something each. So I got it. And then I walked past these lovely little fellas and said, oh yeah. Got a couple of yards of it. What can I say? And then I saw this fabric. And I got 2 yards of it. You know, I'm just walking around. And then I got walking past this yarn, this fabric, and just accidentally, those are upside down, right? No, they're not. They're little both. Got the owls. I mean, they just fell into the cart. you know, it happens when you're in Hobby Lobby. Things fall into the cart. But anyway, part of my mission when I went to Altoona, where we are at, we have a hard time getting like different sauces or things for to make sushi or things like that at home. My husband has been eating sticky rice, which was the Annie Chung, which is it's already in a bowl, you just heat it up. And he's been adding some different things, but he wanted to try sort of like a sushi bowl. And what he was wanting was some sushi vinegar. So he asked me to stop by the Giant Eagle in Altoona, and I did. No such animal in that store. I didn't go to any other store while I was in Altoona looking for it. But I also had to stop at Walmart when I got back to State College for some things that we can't get in our Walmart in Mill Hall. So, on the way home, driving that Interstate 99, I started thinking, well, you know, every time I go to Scraps and Skeins, if I come back down College Avenue, I pass right by an Asian market. So I pulled into the Asian market. I went ahead and went over there, pulled into the Asian market first, and I walk in there and they have this one aisle. It's just sauces, soy sauces, cooking wines, different types of vinegars, all kinds of things. And I'm walking, and of course, most of them are in the language of their people, which is not my language. So I'm walking down there and I'm looking, I'm thinking, okay, some of these have English on them, but I couldn't find sushi vinegar. But I did find a rice vinegar, and I know you can use that in place of it if you just absolutely can't. But the cashier looked at me and she saw I was puzzled, and I said, I'm going to need some help. This white girl has no clue what she's looking for. I said, my husband wants sushi vinegar. She said, oh yeah, you could use that, but you don't really want that. She takes me right down to where I was, pulls it up off the shelf, and says to me, do you just want a small bottle, or do you want a gallon? If you want a gallon, you'll have to order it and then come pick it up next week. I said, no, the small bottle's fine, because we still don't know if what his plan is going to work. This was his plan. What he wanted to do was to take cucumber, and we get the English, they call them seedless, but they're not really seedless, but they have smaller seeds and less seeds. Took an English cucumber and avocado, cubed those up, put them in the vinegar, and let them sit for a little bit, and then he would put it over his rice and eat it that way. Because the man's been having trouble with food. So that worked. And he's been enjoying that. Now my concern with it was, because he's eating small portions, was how I was going to preserve the rest of the cucumber and the other half of the avocado. I have a food saver. So that's what we did. We just cut up the cucumber into smaller pieces. You know, when he got to the avocado, he did choose to eat half of it. So he had the other half, and there's a couple more avocados. And when he opens those up and puts them in, then I will most definitely seal those with the food saver. So it worked out great. But they were out of sticky rice at that store. And I said to her, can I get sticky rice in the other stores, grocery stores? She said, I know you can't get it at Giant. She said, I don't know about Wegmans. But when I went over to that Wegmans, they had no sticky rice. So I haven't gotten any sticky rice yet. However, when we go for chemo tomorrow, I will be able to get sticky rice at the Wegmans. So I'm thrilled about that. But while I was in Walmart, they got some new fabrics in those little 1-yard cuts. So I got some lilac. I like lilacs. And then, of course, I got a little Winnie the Pooh. Eeyore is my favorite and has been my entire life. And then I also got a Harry Potter Gryffindor. Now, my husband does not have this print, so I'm going to make him a mask in this print, and then also I will be making him a ostomy pouch with it. So that is it for the finished and, items. Like I said, I was a good girl. Sorry about the throat. Happens every time. So I was a good girl and only got the one skein of yarn. Although I really wanted more. I wanted some of that merino wool, but I didn't get it. Even though it was 30% off, I didn't get it. But boy, did I want to. Okay, are you ready for a little what in tarnation? Alligator napping under parked car takes broom joyride back to pond. An alligator found sleeping under a Florida resident's parked car was escorted back to a pond by a sheriff's deputy wielding a broom. The Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office said 3 deputies were summoned to a Tampa neighborhood on a report of an alligator sleeping underneath a parked car. One of the responders, Deputy Wheaton, had relocated a 10-foot alligator in April, so she took point on the operation to get the gator back where it belonged. Wheaton used a broom, trying to guide the reptile in the right direction. The alligator ended up latching its jaws onto the broom, allowing the deputy to give it a joyride back to the water. Again, we want to remind you it's that time of year. It's mating season, and in general, gators become more visible and active during the spring and summer, the sheriff's office said. Now, in Canada, Nova Scotia, British Columbia, Canada is on this massive lockdown again due to COVID. And I don't know if all of you are aware of this, but there is a church there that has continued to have services and has continued to be harassed by the officials in Canada coming into the church trying to stop services. However, this next story reminds us that sometimes we need to look a little closer at things. Police find reported COVID-19 violation was a mannequin. Yep, was a mannequin. And apparently that mannequin had no mask on. Bad mannequin. Bad mannequin. All right, police called to a Nova Scotia restaurant on a report of a COVID-19 lockdown violation, discovered the alleged illegal customer seated at a table was actually a mannequin. Mike Cormier, the owner of Ardmore Tea Room in Halifax, said police visited his eatery Thursday morning after someone called to report someone was dining indoors at the facility in violation of shutdown orders. The officer got out and was looking in the window, and I saw her looking at the mannequin, Cormier told Global News. He said he went out and spoke to the officer, who confirmed a caller apparently mistaken the mannequin seated at the table for a human customer. Halifax Regional Police spokesman John McLeod confirmed officers were called to the restaurant Thursday morning on a report of individuals not following public health directives. I don't know, in Canada, did you guys pass laws to make those directives official? Or are they just suggestions? Like they are here in the U.S. Officers attended and found there were no issues or violations at that time, McLeod said. Cormier posted a photo to the restaurant's Instagram page showing the mannequin with the police cars in the background. Please don't call the police on us. We are only open for takeout and delivery. No eat-in. She's a mannequin to help with social distancing, he wrote. Okie dokie. Had to reposition. Sorry, guys. Dog rescued from narrow gap between San Francisco buildings. Authorities in San Francisco conducted an unusual and difficult rescue when a dog fell into a narrow gap between two buildings. San Francisco Animal Care and Control said the 12-year-old canine named Baby Jessica by the rescuers had become stuck between two buildings on San Bruno Avenue, about 6 feet below a deck. Rescuers said the operation was complicated by the narrow space and pipes, wires, loose boards, and nails that adorned the gap. The crew attempted to use a board provided by the building superintendent to give the dog a platform to walk to safely on. But the wood was too long and bowed under its own weight in the middle. Rescuers ended up squeezing into the gap to hoist the canine to safety. Baby Jessica was later reunited with her owner, Animal Care and Control, officers said. I find it cute because how many years ago Baby Jessica fell in the well? Just saying. All right, crew installing pool at Las Vegas home finds Ice Age animal bones, which can actually be kind of a bummer. That or Native American remains. Those are both, while it's a nice find, it can also be a bummer. A Las Vegas couple said workers digging behind their home for a pool installation made a surprising discovery. A set of bones that could be up to 14,000 years old. Matt Perkins, who recently moved to Las Vegas with his husband, said they woke up Monday morning to find Las Vegas police officers were speaking with the workers digging out the hole for their backyard pool. Kind of freaked us out, Perkins told Las Vegas Review-Journal of learning the workers had found buried bones. They didn't tell the owners. Perkins said his mind was eased when the police determined the bones, found under 4 to 5 feet under the surface, were not from a human and were likely thousands of years old. We had joked on Friday that while they started digging, oh great, maybe they will find a dinosaur for us and it will pay for our pool. That has happened, Perkins told KTNV TV. Okay, I don't know where we left off because it stopped on me. Perkins and his husband contacted Joshua Bond, director of research at the Nevada Science Center, and he visited the site Tuesday. Bond said the bones likely came from a horse or other large animals. He said the bones could be up to 14,000 years old, dating from the Earth's most recent ice age. What we found was when they were excavating the backyard pool, they were cutting through ice age layers of sediment, and sure enough, they had a skeleton of an animal, Perkins said. Perkins said he is now working on a plan to have the bones removed and turned over to Bond before the concrete is poured for the pool. But there's a glitch. Those bones could extend to under the foundation of his home. Let's hope that's not the case, because that's going to be a long time before that pool gets put in. Stranded bobcat rescued from atop New Mexico utility pole. Authorities in New Mexico worked together with a power company to rescue a bobcat seen stranded at the top of a utility pole. Doña Ana County said residents reported a bobcat was stranded atop the electric pole in the Topaz Road area, and officials determined the animal needed help to get safely back to the ground. The county worked together with New Mexico Department of Game and Fish and the El Paso Electric Company to devise a rescue strategy. The county recognized that this situation was an ongoing public safety concern. The bobcat did not seem interested in leaving its perch, or was too scared to do so, County Manager Fernando Macias said in a statement. The county deployed a Facilities and Parks Department bucket truck, and an EPE official had the power to the lines running to the pole temporarily shut off during the rescue. Office officials said 42 customers were without power for less than an hour during the operation. The operation did go well, especially considering how quickly it came together, said Sergeant Chris Ortega of the New Mexico Department of Game and Fish. I'm humbled by the number of people that were willing to assist our department in our efforts to safely remove the animal. The bobcat was safely removed from the pole and released in the Lake Valley area near Hillsboro in the Gila National Forest. A lot of people have wild animals as pets, and I would be fearful for this pet for these people. African serval on the loose in North Carolina City. A North Carolina couple are asking locals to keep an eye out for their unusual escaped pet, an African serval. Jim and Lenny Williams of China Grove said the big cat named Gemma got startled outside their house and ran off, and has now been missing for over a week. I just want her home. We miss her a lot, Lenny Williams told WSOC TV. She's just a very, very sweet baby, and she's out on her own. The couple said they hired a tracker who determined Gemma is likely still laying low in the area near the Williams home. Lenny Williams said Gemma will eat rodents and birds, but is not aggressive toward animals or larger pets. She does look like a wildcat, and people could misread what she is and harm her thinking she is a bobcat or anything like that, Williams said. She's just a big baby. She's never been aggressive. Williams said Gemma is friendly, but will likely run if pursued by a stranger. She asked anyone who spots the serval to contact the couple or local authorities. Servals are legal to be kept as pets in North Carolina without any special permits, wildlife officials said. So I hope they find their Gemma. That's it for this week. I'm I hope everybody has a great week. Remember to choose kindness and love one another.